when you can't say what you are saying is an error. No, you must have thought about it. Nothing is an error. Because I believe from the faith that I come from, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So you can't say anything and you say it's an error. You must have thought about it. So when you say it, over time you will act it. It's like confessing. Whatever you confess, you will act out. So after acting it for over a period of time, it becomes your habit because it becomes habitual. And whatever becomes habitual, before you know it, it will become your behavior, because behavior is what we see, and that's what people call character. So if I want, as a behavior consultant, if I intend to change anyone's behavior, I don't begin to compare the person, you must do this, you must do that. No, I want to go back to the thought process. What is forming his thought? If I can shift something in his thought process, I will shift the behavior.
Okay.
So that's the way it works.
Okay, sometimes we have scenarios where they will tell you your environment doesn't matter. Wherever you grow up doesn't matter. You can be this, you can be that. And you're saying that, our environment forms, a part of our behavior. Yeah. What would you have to say about that? Is it possible to form a character that is different from the environment you're in?
It depends on your awareness. It gets to a point whereby you are self-aware.
Okay.
That you know yourself so well that you know your thoughts and you know your emotions and the thought attached to emotion. So it gets to a point whereby even when you are in an environment that is toxic, because you are so aware, you can now begin to make deliberate and intentional choices. Because you see, there's a space between stimuli and your response. Okay. Because environment can push to you stimuli.
Okay. And you determine how you respond.
But however, there's a space between the two, which is determined by your being self-aware, conscience, your imagination, and your independent will. So all these gifts that God is in between, and that will form the way you respond, the way you do. It doesn't matter where you are at some point of your life. When you get so much aware and you have your conscience develop, because your conscience has to do with your internal dialogue. Because it gets to a point whereby somebody abuse you, and within you, you're asking yourself, how is it a problem that he abused? I mean, he said, I'm a fool. You understand? And before you know, you are dialoguing with yourself internally. Within. And at the end of the day, you produce a result that is based on the conclusion
you made inside
of you. So it's not about what the environment is pushing to you any longer, but you don't get to that point in a day. It's a part of personal development.
Exactly. When you said the in between your stimuli and your response. The typical Lagos scenario came to my mind.
Yeah.
Where you're just driving your own. I want that food driver just come out.
I'm telling
and then
you.
You're so tempted to say your father.
In fact.
So how do you cope in those situations? Because sometimes, even me as a person, you just wake up and say, today I'm going to have a nice day. Yeah. Regardless what anybody does to me, I'm not going to respond negatively. And then you step outside in this Lagos, and then someone comes your way, and you don't know, in the next minute, you're already out there and angry and all. So how do you manage that?
Yeah, you've got to develop your emotional intelligence.
First off.
You understand? I teach this. I said, you don't know where my buttons are. You can't press my button to flight or to fight.
How did you get there?
Good. I got to a point whereby I told myself, there's no meaning to a thing except the meaning I give to it.
Okay, there's no meaning to a thing except the meaning I give to it.
So I give meanings to situations around me, words people say to me, whatever happened to me. I give meanings that empowers me. I don't give meaning that disempowers me.
Absolutely.
So when if you say you are a fool, I just tell myself, if he knows me better, he wouldn't have called me a fool.
Okay.
If he knows better, he will have done better. Okay. So I tell myself, I don't judge people based on their behavior. Just like I told you that it is the thoughts that forms behavior.
Yes.
So I don't judge, I don't criticize, I don't rule people out, I don't say that is who they are. I begin to tell myself, if this person have actually known better, he will have done better. So already I've told myself that abuse is not an abuse. Abuse is a compliment. As soon as I said abuse is a compliment, it creates a state inside me.
Yes.
And that state affects my physiology. And my physiology will lead to behavior. You see, the way we have filters, you understand, in our mind. Yes, humans. So whatever comes into our life, we have these filters that help us to give interpretation. We call it internal representation. It is the internal representation that you give to things. You understand? The internal representation you give to things that will create a state You understand? A state inside you. And that state, either negative or positive, will affect your physiology. And it is that physiology that leads to the behavior you show up. So if I go out and people just abuse me, because I've already conditioned myself and I've developed myself to a point whereby I tell people, I would never allow you to press my buttons anyhow. You don't even know where they are. So I'm in charge of myself, both my internal and my outside world. And that is this. And you know what? This is a gift that God has given to everybody. It's just that we are not making use of that gift. Everyone knows that what they are doing is either wrong or right.
We are aware.
We are aware. That conscience is there. God gave the conscience to everybody.
Like my mom would say, someone that is wicked knows that
he's wicked. You understand? So all I encourage people to do is that do not give your power away.
Do not give your power away.
Because your power is within you. You have the power to decide. The power of choice is given to everyone. But if you let your guard, if you let away your guard, then people will begin to press your buttons. People will begin to press your buttons anyhow. And they will be putting you either to flight or to fight. You can't make me to say what I don't want to say.
Sometimes you can be angry 8 times a day, whereas you woke up that day saying,
anger is a choice.
Yes.
People can make you angry, but you can choose either to be angry or not to be angry.
Even in Lagos.
Yes. There's no, see, it's not about the location. It's about you.
Okay.
It's about you. Okay, you say even in Lagos. Have you ever put a tea bag inside the cold water? A tea bag inside the cold water?
No.
What happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No.
Put a tea bag inside hot water. You see the potential is coming out. Difficult situation bring out the best out of you. So don't give your location as an excuse.
All right.
You understand? Let what is on the inside of you come out whichever way, because it is who you are that's determine what you attract. You carry a lot of energy on the inside of it. That's what I want people to understand on this show today. You are human, but you carry a lot of energy. You are not just
a person,
animal. You are human, and God has given you so much gift that you can make use of. So you have the capacity to interpret, to give good interpretations to whatsoever circumstances or situation you find yourself, so that you just don't respond to stimuli anyhow. Because people who live their life on feelings, live their life on the emotion of the moment, and they live a life of tragedy. But people who live their life on their rational mind, because you have two minds, the thinking and the feeling mind. Okay. You understand? And we call it the heart. So when you live your life on the feeling mind, you are spontaneous. It is then you say, oh, I don't know what came over me.
What did I don't meet.
Why did I do this? But people who live their life on their rational mind, their thinking mind, they are the one who question. The fact that he abused me, how is it a problem? I beg.
We move.
Whatsoever you want to say with his mouth, he has the right to say it. I won't allow anybody to put me into problem today, because you are communing with yourself and you are asking vital questions. You understand, that will help you to make informed decisions. So you find yourself that you are always in charge. But if you live your life on the feelings of the moment, you can't get it right.
Absolutely. You're still watching the BRL show, the Business, Relationship and Real Life Issues show on TLIG Africa TV. So if you're not on TLIG Africa TV, you need to go there right now, because we're talking to, a professional in the field, Mr. Olutayo Olushola. Olutayo, some people say that I'm like this because that's how my mother is. I respond immediately. If you give me hot, that is how I am. Is in my blood. Is it possible that you claim that the way you respond to situation is genetic?
Like I said at the beginning of this show, that's we're a product of nature and nurturing.
Okay.
Sometimes the nature of your dad, your mom inside you, and sometimes you even find the nature of your grannies going up on the inside of you. So there's no doubt that you could be behaving like your parent, but is that serving you? That behavior, is it serving you
in this life?
You understand? You don't believe in a prediction that is not serving you. You see, there are a lot of things that I would have given from my parents, if not because I deliberately and intentionally say no way.
This isn't for me.
This is not for me. You understand? Some of become wife beaters because we saw our parents beating each other. Divorce becomes something else because we saw it. Children learn by observation. So there's no doubt you can begin to exhibit behavior from your parent. But why will you say this is who I am if who you are is toxic or is not profiting you or is not serving you?
Why do you want to be that person?
Why do you want to be that person? Why do you want be that person that will not help your relationship? Why do you want to be that person that will not profit your business? I think you need to think about it.
You want to keep that trait and say, I took it from
You want
my
to
mom.
pride yourself inside it. Did it profit your mom?
That's
and is
another
it profiting you? You understand? Change is inevitable. If you don't change, you will change. Something will change you.
Something will change you.
Something will change you. So for me, I've told myself, change is going to be something I do every day. I have changed. I used to tell people I've changed, especially when I got married about 24 years ago. I said, I've changed daily. I wasn't the one who got married 24 years ago. Okay. I've changed. I changed daily. Because you know what? There are things, there is who I am that wouldn't have been able to sustain my home. I've got to change.
Wow.
Yeah.
There were some traits in you that if you had continued with those traits,
I wouldn't have been. For example, I speak with a loud voice because I'm a sanguine. My temperament, my personality type is a sanguine. I don't need microphone. I speak. I am a fun-loving person. When I enter a room, I get people to catch fun.
Vibes.
You got it, baby. You understand? That I have. So I carry that into marriage. When I'm talking, I remember sometimes ago, early in the marriage, I was speaking to my wife and she was looking at her back. And I said, what's the meaning of that? She just told you who you are speaking to. I said, I'm speaking to you. He said, it couldn't be me because you are yelling. yelling. So I let out my voice. So I'm not somebody who speak loud again because about the fact that not everybody wants to hear loud voice. So in communication, in communication, we talk about auditory people, we talk about visual people, we talk about kinesthetic people. Auditory people are moved with sound. So if you're going to communicate with somebody who is auditory type communicator, you must understand that the way you speak has the capacity to influence the comprehension of that person. So if you are speaking on the top of your voice, the person will no longer hear what you are saying, will be hearing you.
It will not be noise.
It will not be noise. Yeah. Your yelling will be constituting noise, and even your facial expression will be constituting noise for an auditory person. The auditory person wants to hear clean, clear voice.
That's the only way they can understand you.
Exactly. So I learned that I have to change that. You understand? And you know, I mean, marriage is a place where your character will be tested.
Wow.
I'm telling you, don't let us go into that.
I'm inspired to get married soon.
I'm telling you.
Okay, let's just go straight into the topic, which is the role of in nation building.
Wow.
So in this nation now, we have the habit of blaming the government for everything. So what is the role of family in nation building?
Wow, interesting.
Very
for
interesting.
Me, this has been a discussion for so long a time. And I'm not one of those people that blame the government.
Okay.
It is true that everything rises and falls on leadership. Just as we are blaming the person at the helm of affairs in Nigeria now presently. I also tell people in marriage, and especially the men, that whatever happens in any marriage, I hold the man responsible. Because everything rises and falls on leadership.
I like that one.
It is not in the place of authority that you are saying you are the head. You should be head in everything.
Even when things go south, you should take responsibility.
You should take responsibility. Because that is the way. See, being the husband in the house is not by choice. It's by ordination.
It's your office.
For the fact that you came as a male child, the trajectory has been set. That one day when you get married, you are a potential leader.
Yes.
So you should understand that the family is the bedrock of any nation. Our president came out from a family.
Absolutely.
Our politician came out from a family. So what is the value that was pushed into them from the family they grew up? If we're going to change anything in this nation today, I tell people, let us go back to the family. Because the family forms the community. The community forms the nation. Go and check families today. Values have been eroded. You hear that it is parents that buys questions and answers for their children who are about to sit for one exam or the other.
Some of them pay for special center.
Can you imagine? So how do you want that child to grow up? He will remember that their mommy bought it for me. He will be planning to buy it for his own children. That lineage is being set. Can you see values being eroded? In those days, we were taught that Batarea do go. It means that the sound of your shoe will create an alarm because you have read and you have succeeded.
Yes.
In other words, we place premium on education. These days, yes, parents no longer place premium on education. They place premium on what their children are able to bring back home for.
Yes,
They want to eat the fruit of their labor. You understand? So I believe that if we are going to get it right in this nation called Nigeria, we need to go back to the family and let every family begin to take deliberate action in setting up the home. In those days, we don't say, this is my children, community trained children. If I see a child that is not my child doing something wrong, we scold the child. This day you don't do it because the parent will fight.
They might even arrest you.
You understand? So we have lost that value, that culture. We need to go back there and if you ask an average child today, you say, I want to be a politician. I want to do this. In fact, some parents are even paying for Yahoo school for their children. I heard that. Learn. I don't know how true is that.
So they can start faster.
You understand? So you can see that the whole thing have degenerated, but it's not too late. It's not over.
That's why
there's still remnants, remnants. And one, I place premium on education. I place premium on education. I remember when my daughter failed her first to her head. She was crying and I was crying. When we're done with weeping, I asked her, what do you want me to do? He said, Daddy, change my school, buy this textbook for me, and get me a mathematics teacher aside the one in school. And by the time we did that, she came out in flying colors. She had A1 in mathematics, and she did JAM, merit to University of Illinois, and she's a graduate now. Can you see that value? Yes. Along the line, let me say this, so that you know how values are being built. Along the line, I asked her, how are you doing with your result? What's your GPA? He said, Daddy, you know what? I can't imagine people having carryover in your mouth. Have you forgotten you have you once failed? But you see, she's been built.
Response. Imagine your father crying with you because you failed WAEC. You will never fail WAEC.
I'm telling you, because you know what? Some people will be beating that child. We call it double tragedy. Somebody is crying that he failed his exam, and you are beating her again. You understand? So you can see that parenting itself is key. How many of our parents knows what it takes to train a child? You see, where the problem is multi-hydra. I'm telling you.
It's more like people from dysfunctional homes now raising kids that are what they carry from there without healing.
It continues. The children. Definitely. So you can see how we got to where we are in Nigeria. So what do we do? Let's go back to the family. Let's begin to. I mean, there's this thing when we're grown, they call it orientation. There's a ministry for that. Okay. And they sing a lot of jingles on the radio. Yes. When there was why they interpreted, we sang the song in school. Let's go back there. Let's begin to make jingles. Let's begin to orientate families. Let's begin to say things that has to do with family. I mean, in families those days, we know all those songs. But which song? Remember those songs that we were taught? Hey. There's so many songs that has to do with families in those days. And we're saying it, and we remember it.
It reminds you. Songs can be very powerful. It stays with you. Like the things you hear from songs, they stay. That's why sometimes even a song you do not like, because you've been listening to, not because it's not even intentional.
Yeah.
Maybe you heard them where you'll be shocked one day you'll just be singing the lyrics.
You're right.
How powerful songs can be. And in those days, they were being used as tools, to keep
national
reorientation.
Stand. We should go back to that and let's focus on the family. Let's focus on building those characters. Let's help parents. We have a lot of NGOs around. Let's work with the government to help parents to know narratives are changing. Things are changing. What we were not exposed to then are the things our young children are exposed to this day.
We need to have access to so much information.
Honestly, I tell people, if you don't parent your children, social media will parent them for you.
On your behalf.
You understand?
Give them what they want to give them.
So some parents are not learned to know that. So national reorientation should be able to come up. We have agencies that are into that. They should be able to come up and let us know the importance of this social media and the demerit of it, so that our young one. I was doing research last 3 weeks, and I found out that 62.9% of Nigerian population falls below 25 years. I was weeping. Wow. 62.9% of Nigerian population below 25 years.
The majority of the Nigerian population
are teenagers.
Young people.
Young people. What are the policies we are putting in place?
Wow.
Where is the future of Nigeria if we won't be deliberate about that strata, that age bracket? What should parents be doing? Now. Yeah. What should religious bodies be doing? What should NGOs be doing? What policy? I think at this point, why not make primary school and secondary school free?
Totally free.
Totally free.
At least to that level.
To that level.
It is not something that you would have to partake in. You should be free.
I'm telling you.
You're still watching the BRR show on TLIG Africa TV, and we'll be talking to Mr. Olutayo Olushola. It's been amazing, Mr. Olutayo, I have a question.
Okay.
What do you have to say about parents who get their children phone from age 5?
Wow, interesting. I love all these questions you're raising today,
yes,
Jake, honestly, because you know what? That's what we call values. Every family should have this value.
Family values. Yes.
We call it family values.
Growing up there, I know there are some things in our family that when you see people doing it outside, it shocks you because where you're coming from is not normal.
And beyond that, I think because I see marriage from the point of a nation, a company, you understand?
Yes.
Every company has their constitution, which is their values.
Absolutely.
Every organization have company policy, which is embedded, which their core value is embedded in it. So for me, when we set out, my wife and I decided that none of our children will use a phone until they are going into university. So we decided that when you pass your JAMB and you get admission, your gifts is your phone. And that was what we did throughout. And it helped. For me, I feel that it's very, very sensitive. If you are going to give them gadgets, you shouldn't be at the age of 5, like you said. Somebody say, they want to do assignment. They give them assignment. I say, if they will give them assignment in school, when they come back home, my phone is available. Come and use. And that was what we did
Take
throughout.
My phone
they
and use my phone for your assignment.
Throughout for the assignment.
For something that is important.
And if you know that you are going to actually give them a gadget, maybe a toy to play with, make sure there's no internet.
Because the internet
and censor whatever is on it. And if you know that you just want to give your child, be sure that you are versatile than your child. But the children of these days, they are very, very versatile on it more than us. I feel that it's about values. It's about the understanding of the parent. Whatever you don't train your children with, they won't get used to it. That didn't make my children to be out of their contemporaries' strategy.
Yeah, some people will tell you they may not get used to the things that are trending, or they may not be able to operate phones, how their mates or their peers handle phones. I do not believe that. So that's why I'm asking you.
I don't believe that.
I see the phone has done a lot of damage to young people.
I'm telling you.
A lot of damage.
We need to go back to values. We need to go back. I mean, in those days, we sit on the dining table with our parents. We eat together. We bond. These days, you see children in the sitting room, everybody's holding phone. Where is the bonding time again? I'm telling you, these days they are even eating there with the phone as they are eating because parents are also doing it.
Yes, it looks normal.
But the disadvantage or the pain it brings at the end of the day should make us to think twice when we are doing all these things. I feel that gadgets should not be allowed at some stages in the life of a child. But there could be some other toys, parts that they can play with. If it's about game, you can give it to them.
Yeah, devices that are strictly for games.
Games, you understand? But handsets, no phone, no. No.
Sometimes you watch some crime stories and you realize that some of these serial killers, they even lure young people, because young people, teenagers, are naive. A grown person can detect that, okay, maybe this person is trying to scam me or something. But young people do not. Teenagers don't know those things. They just want to, okay, this person is chatting with me. They don't even know the person behind the profile.
Quite a number of people have been chatting with me and requesting for fund, and they don't know I've saved their pages with so many names that even if they change it, I will know they're the one.
No, exactly.
You understand? Somebody still asked me for that this morning. I said, but you told me this person died 2 weeks ago, and you are still asking for money for him. He says it's your junior brother. I mean, a lot of things.
Exactly. Now you could detect because you are an adult.
Yeah.
But then these teenagers don't know these things. So can just be behind a profile and tell them, come and meet me in this or so place.
And
this is what it's leading to. Yes.
A
lot of killings and a lot of harm to young people these days. And it's really terrible. And parents need to do better. So what are the other, roles of family in nation apart from these ones that we've talked about?
Yes, like I said, the family is responsible in training the children. Children comes from the family. So when the children are trained, then they grow up to be a trained adult that will start another family. I want you to know that there is one or more families that makes up a community. So when families train their children very well, their children grow up to become people that will help the community. When families, leaders, father and mother do well in the family, they encourage their children when they get married. We won't have dysfunctional family.
Yes, they will emulate
what they saw. You understand? So that means that we are building children that are going to help the society. We are building families that will help the society. You understand? And we are looking at the society, even when we're educating our children, we have the society in mind, because we are not asking our children to study or to do what we want them to do, but we are looking at them and we want them to. A child that is forced to do the father's dream will be a child that will not be happy in future.
Absolutely.
But a child that is encouraged to do what he or she has decided, that what gives him fulfillment, you understand, that child will grow to be happy. Happy children makes happy community. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
But we have a lot of children that are still blaming their parents in the grave. Daddy did this. I'm a therapist. So they come to me and they say a lot of things. They are still blaming their parents. Some of them even find it difficult to forgive their dead parent.
Even after they are gone.
After they are gone, because they feel that if their father have done this, like a lady told me, said, my daddy never put any importance, any value on the female children. He sent the boys to school and left the female to be at home. And she's still angry. So you can imagine when a man now marries such a woman, he's getting married to a bitter woman.
She's already bitter.
You understand? And that will not help a marriage. So if we look at it wholesomely, like we said, the family is the bedrock of a nation. What we are simply saying is that if we can get it right in the family, anywhere a child gets to in future, that child will represent not only the family well, but the nation. Because you see, the politicians we have today, the doctors we have today, you want to get rid of corruption, let's go back to the family. A child who has been taught to make money a master will do anything for money.
Yes.
But a child who has been taught to make money an errand boy will not have cares for money. We grow up with that mindset. So it's all about how we build them from the family. So the importance of family in a nation building cannot be overemphasized.
Absolutely.
It cannot be over. We may not be able to distill everything now in this session, but if we think about it, by and large, you'll find that any result we want to get in this nation, we should go back to the family, because every human being comes from a family.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to talk about some parents that, leave everything for the school to do. I have seen parents that, as a matter of fact, they put their children in the boarding school. I had access to some information from someone that works in the school and told me there are some parents that even during holidays, they pay extra to the school to keep their children in the school. What is the effect of this kind of decisions that parents make?
The effect is clear. The truth is that their children will be parented by somebody else.
Whether good or bad.
Whether good or bad. Because you see, we live in days where husband and wife goes to work 4 o'clock in the morning, they come back 11 o'clock in the night. They said, it's because of these children we are working. I said, no, it's not because of these children. It's because of your own personal pride. It's your own ambition. Oh. It's not because of the children.
Wow.
When you didn't have this, yes, I preach it to you, especially in naming ceremony. I tell the parents of any child I'm naming, I say, see, before you had this child, you were crying unto God for God to bless you. Now God has given you these children. And I use this scripture. I say, you know what? Children are heritage from the Lord. You did not contribute to anything for this child to come. Somebody say, it's because I slept with my wife. You slept several nights with different styles. You never turned to pregnancy. It's because
don't use that one.
Don't use that one. This child is here on assignment. And I want you to know, whether you provide for this child or not, this child won't die. There are orphans that are still living and they are doing well. Don't say because you want to fit this child, You abandon him or her to the hands of a nanny that will mess up his life.
Yes.
Create time. And I tell them, husband and wife, sit down together. Plan it. Must the two of you work 7 to 5? You can plan it for over a period of time that one should be around the children for a period of time. And there's no way it is treated that it is the woman that should sit around. You as a man, you that you are a man, is your profession such that you can start something on your own that your wife can also support? But let somebody be around for these children. You understand? I remember I was the head of head of IT of a financial institution for about 12 years. At some point, my children did not know my name. Why? Because I wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm already in the I back in the night in bed. I want to carry her, and she was running away from me. But thank God my wife was there to feel her because she decided she was going to stay around the children. But one thing I did when I was growing up, I made sure I was the one that attend PTA meeting. I was the one that attend open day. I was the one that attend inter-house sport. And when you do your assignment, there's a table, you must do the assignment. The communication book, I'm the one that I will check through the assignment. There was a day I told my daughter, I said, do this mathematics. When she goes to school, they ask you this one formula. He said, my daddy.
Wow.
And they laughed. They said, your daddy had time for you. You see, if you don't create time for these children, you understand, they will become something else in the future. Like
you won't be happy about.
You can abandon your responsibility on the school. I'm saying it clearly this
because
afternoon.
A lot of parents are doing it these days and they think it's cool.
The school is not responsible for them. You understand? You pay them. You see, you pay them for your negligence. And even though you are paid them, they can't do it the way you're supposed to do it.
There will still be lapses.
How much hours do they spend with the teachers? The teachers themselves come to school. We call that work emotional labor.
Okay.
Because sometimes they are sad. They don't feel like coming to school, but they have to come to school. And they will teach your children based on the emotion they were carrying at that moment. And that's the reason why I speak to my children more than any teacher.
Wow.
They told my daughter one day, you are a failure to me, because when she failed that WAEC, the person that the teachers will always want 100% that all their students should pass. The teacher came to me and said, my daughter did not allow her to have 100%, that my daughter is a failure to her. I said, my daughter is not a failure. And I will bring her back to you very soon. And I reported to the principal. Now, the same teacher that called my daughter a failure is celebrating her today.
That is it.
You understand? Who is speaking to your children? It's a war of words. The person who speaks to your children the more is the person they will gravitate towards. If it is social media, if it is the teacher in the school, no matter whosoever speaks to your children is the more they will gravitate towards.
I've learned that. Okay, all right. We've been talking a lot today and we're learning so much. Okay, this final question before you go. Is there like a body or an initiative for children that they don't have the opportunity to be in the family? Maybe they can get people who will groom them or, represent a parent in their life.
Wow, that's a good one that you are asking, and I hope we have few, and I hope we could have more.
Absolutely.
I know Catalyst for Men is a friend of mine, Dayo Adeyemi, run Catalyst for Men. In fact, he has for boys. He has for boys that are out of the home.
Wow.
He has for boys in this correctional center. Is deliberate about building men. So he thought of it that if I'm going to succeed in building men, let me go to the gates. Let me go and catch them young.
Yes,
so he even sources fund for those children that couldn't go to school.
Okay.
You understand? I don't focus on that because mine is strictly relationship and family. You understand? And behavioral change. So I recognize Dayo in Dayo. His name is Dayo Adeyemi.
On Instagram?
Yeah. And I have his phone number. I can drop it for you in case they want to contact him. He's doing so much on men, on the boys out there. And there's so many other NGOs there. And I know churches are doing, mosques are doing a lot too. But what I want to say is that if any one of us know any child, you understand, that is outside there, let us go back to the period where communities train children. You can offer yourself to be father figure. Single mothers. And that's where I thought you were going to mention something about that. See, the fact that you have a child as a lady does not make you a father. There's the place of a father in the life of a child. When I was growing up, there's this adage that says that it's the place of the man. And I'm speaking to the men this afternoon. Your place is more than just giving money or providing food on the table. Your role is more than providing money. Your role is to be there to groom the family,
Absolutely.
the children.
And it's affecting a lot.
A lot.
Affecting a lot.
They thought if they just give money, that's
it's
just
trending for women to now want to, take care of their home and be like, I don't need a man. And maybe that is why men are responding like, okay, since you don't need me, bye. But you guys are needed. Men are needed to create a proper family. Thank you guys for being a part of today's BRR show, the business relationship and real life issues show. We have been talking to Mr. Olutayo Olushola, and it's been an amazing time. All right, guys. So I have to go now. Same time next week. Join me on the BRR show. I'm still your girl JK. Follow me on Instagram at JK_OAP, JKAY_.